Theo in the Czech Republic. You're live with Eric and Vi. What would you like to talk about today?
Hi, Eric. Hi, Vi.
Hey, Theo.
I'd like to talk about eschatology and how is it compatible with atheism, or what's your personal opinion on it? Maybe the best way to explain it would be for me to give you a background, my religious background, so that you see where I'm coming from.
Well, so hold on. What's the question itself? Because the tactic that we're going to employ is we're going to assume that you are an honest interlocutor and that you know you've come to your conclusions for decent reasons, and we could talk about those over time. But what is your conclusion itself? I want to dive right into the meat of the topic.
Conclusion of
Sure. You wanted to ask us, it says, would like to ask hosts if they have any beliefs or hopes concerning future prospects of mankind.
Yeah.
Okay. So
go ahead.
No problem. As an atheist, just purely that atheism has nothing to do with it. Secular humanism, it has to do with it. But if you're asking what the atheist view is, there's none to give. Atheism is just the response to the God claim.
Hey, so would you mind maybe elaborating on your own personal views? Because for me, this question is important.
I'm just wondering, why is it relevant? Is there a religious angle that you're taking to this? Why does it matter?
It does matter to me because when you do some good deeds, you hope that it will have some effect and that you will make a world a better place to be. But if eventually, in the end, it does not matter, it kind of undermines your the whole point of being a good person. Maybe.
Okay. So we can
definitely dive into that for sure. The way I've heard this argument a couple of times, and honestly, I'll be honest, I don't really understand it, because for me, the permanence of a thing does not necessarily relate to its value or its necessity. So why did you eat breakfast this morning if you're only going to have to eat lunch later or breakfast tomorrow? Like, your breakfast didn't exist forever, so why bother eating breakfast? Well, because you need to in order to survive. It makes your day better to have a nice breakfast, right? There are reasons that we do things that have no bearing on whether or not something is eternal. In fact, I would suggest that because things are not eternal, because we are not eternal beings, because everything is finite, that actually makes it more valuable. The reason we like diamonds, allegedly, even though the concept of diamonds being rare is a marketing ploy, more on that later. The reason we like certain fine gems or gold is because it's rare and not in abundance. It's not an inexhaustible resource. And so the fact that we as humans, as people on this planet, are exhaustible, we will one day not exist, makes our existence that much more valuable.
I understand your point, but
So what does a God add to the equation?
The God, or maybe believe that there will be some kingdom of heaven or some kind of ideal society in the future.
Okay. So let me give you an example here. Let's say you're driving down the road, you see somebody who is stalled out in the middle of the highway, right? Wanting to be a good person, you find a safe place to park. You get out there and help them push their car to safety. So is it only beneficial if somebody gives you a cupcake when you get home, or were you just being a good person to be a good person? I don't think you need the cupcake. Well, and if you're to say, well, they would have found their way home one way or another, does that mean that you helping them had no value?
I think you don't understand me precisely, because if you're doing it for a cupcake, of course, you're not doing it for the other person. But,
so are you saying, so it sounds like you're saying that Christians don't do anything for other people. They only do it because they want to go to heaven. Sounds rather immoral.
Some of them, I believe not many Christians really think like that. But for me personally, I don't believe in afterlife or heaven. I just like to know that what I'm doing makes sense in long term, because
so
maybe if you knew that the person you're helping will eventually die the next day, would you still?
Absolutely, because because it makes me feel good. So I give things value, and I choose what is valuable to me.
So it's about your good feeling, not about the other person, or?
Most of the time, I think that is the motivation. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a value in doing good things. I think there's a social value in it.
Well, I think it's a blending of those things. I think that, for example, we connect with other people, and there's this term, compersion. And it's kind of the opposite of jealousy, in that when you see somebody you love or care about also having a good time, if you observe that, then you feel good feelings because you care about the other person. So it's not an either or situation here. A lot of the time it's I care about this other person, and because I do, helping them makes me feel good. So
I think that still boils down to you feeling good, though.
And again, like I'm more of a pragmatist than you are. So I think that the end goal is what matters. So if the person gets helped, I don't really care if you did it because of, you wanting to feel good, or you wanting to feel selfless and righteous, or you thinking there's a reward at the end. Like, if the person gets helped, then that's all that matters.
Agreed. I just, the usual formation that I come across when somebody says that, right? Well, what's the point in helping anybody if everybody dies in the end? That nihilistic viewpoint. Okay, so we give things value. It's as easy as that. I think the only way things can matter is if we're the ones who give it value. The fact that we agree societally on some things means that we can value things together. And that's why you wind up getting diamonds, as V's example. But
right.
I don't think that really matters. And I think the idea of an afterlife is kind of a red herring. It has nothing to do with whether or not it's good to do something good.
People are capable of doing good things without the carrot and the stick approach of eternal suffering or eternal reward. And I think that assuming that they aren't is wrong and infantilizing.
That help?
I wouldn't assume so. Yeah. So I just, I must admit, I'm struggling with this idea because, for example, I thought that if tomorrow world would end, today anything would not making sense. But most probably I would do the same today, even if I knew that tomorrow would be the end of the world.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thought experiment. That's something that you have to grapple with. And I think that it's part of the scariness of entering into a non-religious worldview, realizing the world could end tomorrow. And are you doing what you want to be doing, and why? And would that motivation or action change based on what you knew about the future? Like, those are big questions for sure. But that's definitely a journey that I think you're on the right path. You just have to keep following that down.
Yeah. But thank you for calling in.
Oh, thank you.
Take care.